Welcome back, Evolution RTS fans, and this is going to be round 2 of the Evolution RTS Invitational Tournament, and let's go ahead and get this started. And there we go. I was actually going to show the bracket, and unfortunately I derped on that, so I'll show it in just a moment after this game. This game is going to be between Ikinz and CommonPlayer. Two very, very good players. I'm very excited for this match. This is going to be on Mesa. And you can see CommonPlayer is going to be starting in the top, and Ikinz will be starting in the bottom. Now, one thing about this map, there is not much metal on it. There's very little. You can actually see the points here on the mini-map, and on the main map for that matter, if we do this. Yeah, so there is not much metal to be had. So this should be pretty interesting. Ikin's going to deafen himself in Mumble. They're all in Mumble. I would actually be in Mumble with the rest of the guys, but unfortunately, if I mute myself in Mumble, it kind of screws up my microphone on the stream, unfortunately. So, all right. And there we go. And we have game start. And so, this is going to be a pretty interesting start because due to the fact that whoops, didn't mean to type that in caps, but due to the fact that there's so little metal on this map, these guys are really going to have to fight tooth and nail for it. I imagine there will be a lot of metal extractor use, and in an interesting turn of events, they actually started directly on top of one another, and it looks like Ikinz is going to go ahead and go for amphibious snakes, and CommonPlayer is going to go for them as well. And amphibious tanks are really good because they are fast and stealth to radar. They also deal the highest damage of any units in the game, but unfortunately they have next to no armor. So you really have to kind of watch them and micro them quite a bit in order to get best use out of them. Now, in a situation like this, I would say that either amphibious units or hover units would be best. And Ikinz has an interesting fight rally point for his factory. Both of them just kind of moving out and claiming more mexes. CommonPlayer is getting ahead on the mex front, and he's going to see absolutely nothing. There we go. And now he's going to see the builder moving in for Ikinz, and Ikinz is also going to see this himself. That is probably going to have him a little bit annoyed, knowing that he started directly below his opponent. However, he is going to move up the middle with some snakes, and this could actually hurt CommonPlayer quite a bit. Ikinz is likely going to lose this builder. And yes, the builder goes down. Ikinz sticking it out with some more snakes. And here we go. We have snakes moving up in the north. And Ikinz is still just kind of scouting out, trying to find the metal extractors. Now we're going to have a bit of a fight going on here in the north. CommonPlayer does lose a snake. And now CommonPlayer is a bit on the run, but at the same time, that engagement came out more or less pretty even. CommonPlayer will lose a mechs out of the deal. And it looks like Ikinz found the metal extractors of his opponent in the north. And he does have his tanks moving around a little bit. Hopefully he'll send this one out to the corners. And now he's behind his opponent. Literally. And economically, he's a little bit behind his opponent as well. But that's only a matter of a little bit of income. That should be remedied pretty quickly. However, CommonPlayer has been building quite a few generators. Oddly positioned generators, actually, but nonetheless. Now, his snakes do get EMP'd, and he loses some snakes to razors here. CommonPlayer going to lose this metal extractor again, which has to be irritating. He's also completely whiffs an EMP, and that may mean the loss of his overseer. That's unfortunate. Oh, no, he does get another EMP off. And that won't stop him for long, but it might just be enough. Maybe. Oh, no. Unfortunately, not enough. And that's kind of a blow. It's not that big of a deal because engineers can more or less do everything that the overseer can, but the overseer has the EMP, which is very useful. And Ikinz being irritating by going around the back with a single snake. Now, this is bad news for Ikinz because these razors are going to tear these snakes apart. And so, basically, Ikinz is left completely naked on his front of his base. And Dicer gets taken out. Overseer's moving in, going to hit him with an EMP. And unfortunately, Ikinz comes out very much on the wrong end of that, but CommonPlayer not wanting to push the advantage. There is a decent chance that he could have lost all of his units there. So it's probably a good idea that he didn't push it. And finally, this lone snake in the north gets taken out. And CommonPlayer is getting up his first advanced... I say first. Is there another one? Nope, he's getting up his first advanced generator, but in sneaky fashion, he is actually building a basic generators down here in the... Well, not down, but over in the top left. And looks like Ikinz moving in with some snakes, going to get a razor. And basically that exchange, no one really came out on top on that one, unfortunately. Razor's moving in with some snakes, going to take out the metal extractor in the center. Ikinz moving in with a bunch of snakes and some dicers. And looks like he's going to move to the foot of the mountain. Not sure what he has planned here. And here he's moving in. And he will get all of these unless CommonPlayer reacts right away. Due to terrain variances, these razors can't always shoot. Even though it looks flat, it isn't. As we can see right here. It is very flat-ish though, but some of these ridges are just enough. And there we go. We've got these units moving in, and unfortunately for Ikinz, they do get repelled. Ikinz is really pushing it on the snakes. And he's actually built one of each factory. Apparently he wanted a box set. So he's also moving in with snakes up to the forward again. Now, if this dicer gets off a single shot, that entire line will get paralyzed, and unfortunately, CommonPlayer just did not have his units correctly positioned for that. Now, these razors, if kept at range, they will take out every single one of these snakes, but unfortunately, it does require that you pay attention. And an orb going to move in, reclaim some of this idle metal left around. And we have wildcats moving in. This is bad news for Ikinz. Also bad news for Ikinz is the fact that tanks have taken out his little force of snakes. And these wildcats are now going to start working on these metal extractors. Ikinz is working on getting up a coyote, and as soon as this coyote comes out, he will have temporary air superiority. Now, it's worth noting that Ikinz has basically had the upper hand as far as economy goes for most of this game. And I'm not sure that he's used it to its fullest extent just yet, but he's definitely trying. Now, he's getting another coyote up. I have to imagine that he will probably be getting up an air constructor so that way he can rebuild his mexes very quickly. And just to reiterate, this is where they are. These are all the ones that he's lost so far. Coyote's going to take out yet another wildcat. The wildcat does get the metal extractor, though. And Ikinz is moving in with cloaked bashers. And I'm not 100% sure of the rationale for using bashers. They are quite a bit shorter range than sledges, which are very similar to crushers. And actually, he does have sledge here. These will be quite good, actually, if he is able to use the cloak effectively. And it looks like he has pre-cloaked them a bit. Unfortunately, this is a very tiny army going against a much larger army. However, CommonPlayer's forces are spread out, and he does lose some. Now, if Ikinz can cloak these, there they go. These cannot be targeted while cloaked. It looks like Ikinz going to lose an engineer down here, unfortunately. And it looks like he really needs to get his metal extractor income going again. These guys are going on super low economy. CommonPlayer just now has 5 metal income. And he's actually got an air engineer moving around and building metal extractors again. Ikinz going to lose another metal extractor in the center. And he is starting to rebuild some of the extractors that he's missed. Now, one thing he could do is he could actually salvage some of these factories. Ikinz microing his sledge around, which do very much outrange the amphibious units. That's another thing I did not mention about amphibious units. Their range is very short. so yes. As you can see, the red ring there is actually the shooting range. And unfortunately, Ikinz is going to kind of starve to death economy-wise here if he does not get some more economy going. He did get a builder out to rebuild these mexes. Unfortunately, he does kind of lose them right away. It's hard to cover this kind of territory on this map. And he does push forward. Unfortunately, it's big army versus small army. And Ikinz does have his overseer in the front. Looks like he is going to try to EMP and move in with Recluse. And unfortunately, at this stage, Spitters are pretty good versus Recluse, simply because they can't move around very much. Sorry, keep getting distracted by these little unit exchanges we have going on here. Let's tilt that camera a little bit. And this Wildcat is going to pretty much help CommonPlayer clean out Ikinz base. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that Ikinz can do at this point. And there you have it. Unfortunately, it looks like Ikinz is going to lose this first match to CommonPlayer. And this is admittedly quite a tough map to play on because it's so huge. I mean, you can just see the amount of area. There's so few resources on it. There's these ridges that you have to deal with. Yeah, it's definitely a rough time. And looks like Common's just going to go ahead and clean up the rest of Ikinz forces. I'll zoom out there. Ikinz did manage to get up a amphibious lab in the south. And Ikinz builds his namesake, which is going to take out, unfortunately, nothing before it dies. And we do have a coyote, and Ikinz throws in the towel. And that's it for game 1 of Ikinz versus CommonPlayer.